So a great example of an emergency where you would need to use a credit card is if you're on a road trip and you ran out of cash or didn't bring it, or you don't have a check or any other form of payment, and your vehicle breaks down. Now, under normal circumstances, a vehicle is not a necessity unless you rely on it for your job. As in, you have to have it in order to do your job. Like if you're a salesman that handles an entire region, like multiple states or something like that, you have to have a vehicle. It's very difficult to do your job without. Although in the old days, there were people who did it without. But so if you're on a road trip, your vehicle breaks down, you don't have any other form of payment than a credit card, then that's okay. That's an acceptable excuse. If you are seriously ill or injured, that's an acceptable time to use a credit card if you don't have another form of payment. And that kind of thing. So a genuine emergency, okay? Not because of addictions or some other crazy thing. The wants or passions or whatever, a real emergency, okay? And oh my God, I've run out of vodka. No, that's not an emergency. You need to seek help, okay? Okay, so that's the first reason or condition under which you can use a credit card and not feel bad about it. Unless you cause the emergency just so you can use the credit card, then you need help. Okay, the second one would be if you are in a situation where you need to pay something and the only form of payment that is accepted is a credit card. Now, aside from online purchasing, I can't really think of a situation. However, I was at the dentist last week, and this lady stormed out of the dentist's office, and her husband hurried after her and asked her, well, what's going on? Why are you upset? And she said, well, they refused my cash to pay the bill. Now, in my opinion, no business that is a brick and mortar business should be allowed to turn down cash, because cash is the legal tender of America. And I would question very highly, this situation. But so theoretically, it could happen. So that would be the second situation in which it's okay to use a credit card. The third situation in which it's okay to use a credit card. Oh, I'm sorry. Before I get into that, in a situation where where a credit card is needed to pay for something, again, you need to keep in mind: is this a want, a need, or a necessity? If it isn't a want or a need, again, fall back to the emergency rule. Don't get it. And another thing about emergencies, another time at which it would be an emergency to use your credit card is when you need shelter from the weather. If the weather's so bad that you could get hurt or die, it's okay to use a credit card to save yourself, if that's your only form of payment. Okay, so let's get to the third situation under which it would be acceptable to use a credit card. And that situation is when your credit score is not good and you have already got the money to purchase what you want. Okay? Normally I'd say just go ahead and purchase what you want, but if your credit score is bad, you need to work on improving it. And one of the easiest ways to do that is save up your money until you've got enough money to pay off what you want to buy. Purchase the item with a credit card and immediately pay off that credit card debt by sending in a check or other form of payment to your credit card company. I did that very successfully before I moved to Indonesia. I had a very good credit score. I don't have a credit score at all anymore because I was gone for so long, but I used to have a very good credit score. I would buy things and I would pay them off immediately. If not that day, but then when I got my bill, I would pay it off. Of course, you have to look at the conditions of your credit card. It may be that you'll get an interest rate or some other kind of fee, a charge to your credit card, even though you paid on your first bill. So you need to try to avoid credit cards that take advantage of you like that. So those are the 3 times when it's okay to use a credit card. And why should you not use it under other circumstances? Well, okay, let's put it this way. Say you become reliant on credit cards to pay for things, and you can't seem to get a good enough job to get out from underneath that habit of credit card usage. So you're in a cycle where you're paying things with credit card, waiting for your salary to come in so you can pay off the credit card, and it doesn't leave you enough money to get to the next month without using your credit cards again. Now this could go on and on and on, and if you happen to have an accident or something where you're not earning money, you lose your job, whatever it is, then you're screwed because you won't have enough money and you've already used your credit cards too much, and you'll get yourself into some serious debt. So that's one example of why you shouldn't use credit cards, except for under the conditions I've outlined. Another thing I can add to that would be that if you are living a lifestyle that is a credit card based lifestyle, what happens when your income level changes to something lower? You're going to be stuck in a trap. So basically, using credit cards is a crutch that, given the way life can happen to even very rich people, not the ultra rich generally speaking, but very rich people, you could end up in permanent debt or even in poverty and have debt collectors coming after you all the time. Just stay away from credit cards, except for under those 3 circumstances that I have listed, and always pay off your debt as quickly as possible. Never ever pay the minimum acceptable amount, because they designed that to put the vast majority of your minimum payment toward your interest charge, and little or none of it goes to paying off the principal, the actual amount that you borrowed, which means you could be paying on, say, a $200 draw on your credit card. If you're paying the minimum, it could take you years to pay off that $200. So pay the maximum that you can afford to pay in order to avoid excessive interest fees. All right, I hope this has helped you. Bye.